What's up guys, LeopoldTheBrave here, and this is going to be a bit of a different video. I'm not exactly making this for my general audience, but more so for the people that this video is about, the cartoon reactors. Now, reaction channels in general on YouTube tend to get a pretty bad reputation, but I find cartoon reactors quite enjoyable. It gives you the same sensation as if you were introducing a show to a friend, it makes you feel like you're watching the show for the first time all over again, and they honestly have pretty decent rewatch value and make for great background noise to listen to while you're doing something else. However, there is just one teensy tiny problem, and it's that they seem to watch the same 4 cartoons: Gravity Falls, Star vs., Avatar, or Korra if they've already seen the first Avatar series, and then Steven Universe. And then when those 4 are done, they move on to more niche stuff like Ruby or anime that barely gets them as many views as the cartoon reactions. And I know they do this because they enjoy it, not for the views, but just a little bit more variety shouldn't be too much to ask. They have been branching out a bit with DreamWorks, Disney, or other animated movies they missed out on, which is awesome, keep doing that, but you know, just a teensy tiny bit more variety would be nice. So I made this video full of show suggestions, not just cartoon suggestions, of series that don't have very many reactions or any reactions at all. Reacting to any of these would be guaranteed to grow their audience and earn an instant subscription from me. So with that said, let's begin.
Do this.
First up, we have Invader Zim, because this is the show I hear reactors talk about the most, just to say that they've never seen it before. They sometimes say that they're interested in that they might react to it someday, but that's usually about as far as it goes. I have seen one reaction series of it, but they stopped a couple episodes in for whatever reason. So I think Zim deserves a bit more attention, especially since he got a super good movie on Netflix last year. Considering how shocked and blown away some reactors were at Adventure Time's and Gravity Falls' darker moments, we definitely get a real show from an Invader Zim reaction series. Now, outside of the general plot of just wanting to take over the world, Zim doesn't exactly have an overarching plot to follow, which is usually what attracts most reactionists to watch a cartoon. But it does have continuity and remains consistent with its lore. So combine those, its dark atmosphere and fleshed out and detailed world, and add on the humor of the show, and I think it would be a pretty entertaining reaction series to follow. So watch Invader Zim.
Could a dead Zim do this?
Next up is Bojack Horseman. Now, just looking at this no-context footage of the show, as well as the first few episodes of the show itself, you'd assume it's nothing more than another typical adult cartoon. However, the show changes things up pretty fast. It's about a depressed, alcoholic, washed-up Hollywood celebrity trying to get back on his feet. And when I say he's depressed, I mean it. This show tackles depression and other mental illnesses in a very healthy and realistic way. I honestly don't know a single person who has watched the show and hasn't had their mental or emotional state improve in a positive way. It's definitely a life-changing series to some degree, and while there have been a couple reaction series to it, they've all been group reactions. I have yet to see a reactor have an intimate one-on-one experience with the show just as I did, and I'm very interested to see what that journey would look like. So reactors, when you get the time, definitely check out Bojack Horseman.
Could a dead Zim do this?
Now we come to a Cartoon Network show that I believe to be the most overlooked one ever. People always say this show is great and how it meant a lot to them and how they enjoyed it as a kid, and always put it at the top of their Cartoon Network tier lists, but they never ever say why or say anything about the show. Well, I'm here to fix that. Y'all need to react to Codename Kids Next Door, because it's one of the most detailed and fun, imaginative shows Cartoon Network has ever produced. While it has this silly premise of kids as secret agents fighting supervillain adult tyranny, it takes this concept completely seriously. There's super detailed and imaginative rules that they follow for their universe very consistently. It does have an overarching storyline and character development that people never seem to bring up. And right now, there are 0 reaction series for it, which means if you do one, anyone who's looking for it will all come to you. So cartoon reactors, it's first come, first serve. Battle stations.
Could a dead Zim do this?
Here we have Regular Show, which in general does have a pretty decent amount of reaction series, but with how important and influential it was, it definitely deserves more, being the peanut butter to Adventure Time's jelly. I think one of the reasons reactors may be a bit hesitant on this show is how dude bro it seems. And yeah, it starts out that way, but characters begin to grow up fast as the story slowly transforms into a coming-of-age tale. The cast matures, reflects upon themselves, discovers who they want to be in life and where they want to go from there, and overall it's just a very relaxing and chill show to watch despite some of the more intense things to happen occasionally. It also teaches some pretty decent life lessons and has some of the most interesting romance arcs cartoons have to offer, despite what the uninformed Mordecai simping memes would have you believe. Again, it's doing pretty good in the reaction scene, but I think it could be doing a little better, so any new regular show reaction series that pop up, I appreciate you. It is my all-time favorite cartoon after all.
Could a dead Zim do this?
This suggestion is probably for the least amount of people, which is saying a lot, because the final suggestion I have is pretty wild. Total drama. Now looking at it, it's actually a perfect show for a reaction. It's a competition, people get eliminated, you get favorite characters, etc. But it all depends on if you're interested in the drama itself. A lot of it is romance, blood, betrayal, backstabbing, that kind of stuff. A lot of the characters are introduced as typical teen stereotypes, but flesh out later on, but you have to deal with those stereotypes in the first place. Not to mention there is a bit of gross out humor, but honestly if you stick with it, you're going to fall in love with the show. You either don't care for the show or you become obsessed and it turns into one of your favorite things. There's no in between. So basically, if you don't mind gross out humor and you're willing to give the characters the time to develop, then this is for you. This is a problem Total Drama seems to have. There are quite a few reaction series of it, but they only go on for a couple episodes because people just stopped. So, will you be the next one to give the entire show a shot? Let's hope and see.
Could a dead Zim do this?
Now let's move away from the cartoons and into an anime with Hajime no Ippo. It's a sports anime! Now don't skip this part, just wait. I don't care about sports either. But this show is something else. The sport it's about is boxing, and it really makes you want to learn how to box yourself. It teaches you so much about the sport, and you can tell how passionate the author is. It has some of the most charming characters anime has to offer, it's incredibly funny, and the fight scenes are astonishing. Hajime no Ippo knows how to build up suspense better than any other anime I've seen. It feels like it was practically made for reactions. Just make sure to watch the sub and not the dub. Normally I'm a dub guy because I have eyesight issues and reading subs for too long strains my eyes and hurts, but the Ippo dub is... so yeah, go subs. But anyways, Ippo, yeah, check it out. It's based on one of the longest running manga and it can take something you couldn't care less about and make you obsessed with it. I guarantee it's a fun time.
Zim do this?
Alrighty, apologies for this, but I have to heavily edit the footage shown in the Leo box because even the Leo box isn't enough to save me from DBZ copyright strikes. Ooh. But this segment isn't for Dragon Ball Z anyways, it's for Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Now this show is highly reacted to anyways, but I recommend that cartoon reactors react to it as well, even if they don't know anything about Dragon Ball. The way this show evolved makes it an excellent gateway into the franchise, and people who have never seen the original Dragon Ball Z can still enjoy it. It dives a bit deeper into the story and characters than the actual anime itself to give a new perspective on things. And a lot of the character development and world building in the series feels heavily inspired by modern cartoons. It's like watching the characters of Adventure Time or Gravity Falls grow, just with a Dragon Ball Z skin over it. Like I said though, it evolved to that point, so at a previous period, like the first season of the show, it wasn't so great. So while the first 10 episodes continue to age like milk, everything after is aging like a fine wine. So Dragon Ball Z Abridged would be a fun thing for cartoon reactors to give a shot.
Could a dead Zim do this?
This segment isn't for a specific show, more just for sitcoms in general. Now, aside from the occasional emotional or series-defining moments, a sitcom doesn't really have much to offer in terms of an overarching plot or even character development. This one is just purely for the curiosity because I don't think there's ever been a sitcom reaction series before. But even though sitcoms aren't very demanding when it comes to following them, some of them should still make for interesting reactions like Drake and Josh, iCarly, That 70s Show, Everybody Hates Chris, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. There are quite a number of big hits that would be fun to watch along with people. There's actually not much else to say here. Sitcom reactions would just be wacky. Bazinga?
Zim do this?
Alrighty, now here's the wild suggestion. I'm not into too many live action stuff for a variety of reasons. Animation can just do so much more. And I'm especially not into super dark, dramatic, gritty live-action stuff. However, The Walking Dead is something else. It was a complete contrast to everything I loved, and I had no interest in the show at all. However, they added in a character from the show into my favorite fighting game, Tekken. And while that event did prompt me to check out the show in the first place, I can't attribute my enjoyment of it to that event, because the character that actually got put in the game doesn't show up in the series until the very end of Season 6. So the fact that I was able to not only endure, but also enjoy that much of something filled with so many things that I can't stand should say a lot about its overall quality. So I feel like a cartoon reactor checking that out would be such an interesting contrast that I'd like to see. I saw an anime reactor try it out once and she seems to enjoy it so far, so cartoon reactors should have no trouble either. But overall, I hope my recommendations are interesting and we get a bunch of new reaction series based on these suggestions. See you guys next time. Leopold the Brave out.